Hello guys, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about comparable and how to use that in our Selenium script. Okay, so let me give you an example here. Okay, in this table, we have this fat, right? Fat column where when I click on this, it is going to give me the ascending order. Then again, when I'm going to click on this is going to give me the descending order, right? Now, of course, we can do this by finding all the elements within this particular column, and we can use the find elements method to find, and then we can use the collections.sort to do the sorting, right? That will work fine, absolutely fine, no problem in that. But what if I also want to check if the data is going to be persistent for the other column as well? For example, this 4 and this cupcake, right? So both are in the same row, right? Now when I do the sorting, how do I know that my sorting is going to do in the same way, right? So we have to do the verification of the persistence of the data as well, right? So for that we are going to learn comparable today. Okay, so here in my code editor, so I have written some basic stuff like um, creating object for the driver, then implicit wait and maximize, and I have taken the URL. Okay, now we can do this in multiple ways. So we can either go with the web table concept where I can find the table and then I can find number of rows, number of columns, and all. We can do all those stuff. But my intention is not here to teach you web table concept, so I'm going to make it very simple by using the XPath. Okay, so first I'm going to take this data. So let me take this data. So here I can see that this has table row and table data. Okay, so if I give control F and find, so here I can see that this guy is highlighting the first one, which is 6, right? Now it starts with the row of 2, right? Now if I change this to 3, then it is going to take me the all others row, right? And so here tr of this one, right? Okay, so first in the first row we do not have anything, so in from the second row we have all this value, right? So totally we have 5 data here. So if I give 2 plus 5 7, so yes, so here I can see I can go till the sixth value here, right? So let's take this XPath and we are going to iterate this. So here I'm going to driver dot find element. I'm going to find a single element and I'm going to loop through that. Okay, so here I'm going to say find element by XPath. Where is that? Okay, and here I'm going to give my value, and I'm going to store this in a local variable. So what can I do is, yes, and this is going to be my fat, right? So this is going to be my fat data, and again I'm going to find my this dessert data, right? So here I can say this is going to be same td, so this is going to be td of 1, right? Yes, so we got the XPath now. So here I can say it also starts from the second position, right? So I'm going to copy this, and here I'm going to find element again. So driver dot find element by XPath, and here I'm going to pass the value, right? Now let me store this into a local variable. So, and here I'm going to say this as dessert. Okay, so that's pretty much fine. Now we want to loop through this because this guy is going to find only one element, right? But we want to find all the elements, right? So I'm going to use the for here, for iterator, and here I know that this has only 5 data. So what can I do is I can say row size equal to 5, right? So int row size equal to 5. Okay, that's fine. Now here I'm going to start with the second value, right? Because you know, right, this going to be my first data, which is in the second position in the second row of this table, right? So I have to start with the second, and also if I'm going to increase this here, also I have to increase this here, right? So I'm going to make this as 7, and here I'm going to say lesser than 7. Okay, so obviously I will get um, 5 rows, right? Yes, that's fine. Now I'm going to bring this within the scope. So within the for loop, Okay, now here instead of this static data I'm going to make it as dynamic using the string concatenation. I'm going to bring my I here. Okay, so based on the number of I, it is going to obviously it is going to change, right? So same thing applies here as well. So I'm going to do the string concatenation again, and here I'm going to bring the I. Okay, now this is fine. Let us first print the values and then we'll move further. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sys out and fat dot get text, obviously, so to get the text. And here I'm going to print again the desert, right? So sys out desert dot get text. Okay, now let me run this. Let me also close the driver, so driver dot quit here. Okay, so let me run this first, then we will move on. So it's going to open the browser and it is going to load my URL. Okay, and I think it should be very quick because the number of data are very less here. Yeah, it's done, right? So we got the output as well correctly. So here we can see that 6 frozen yogurt, 9 ice cream sandwich, eclair, and we got all the values, right? Now I'm not going to click on the fat and then again I'm going to show you all this stuff, but instead of that I'm just going to show you how to use the comparable. Based on that you can do the other stuff, right? Now also here we can see that we are getting so many logs from the driver, right? We can actually turn off this by using a system.set property. So system.set property, and here I have to say WebDriver dot chrome dot silent output, which means we won't get any logs from the driver. Obviously if we get some exception, obviously it is going to show us. Okay, so it's like key and value where we have to say this is my key and this is my value. Okay, fine. So let's run this again and let's confirm, then we will move on. Okay, so it's going to run again, same thing. In this time we should not see any logs from the browser. Okay, so this looks very pretty, right? So if we see, if I show you the first one where you are getting this rendering message all the time, which doesn't looks very pretty. Now here I can see that this logs has been disabled. Only one line you are getting, that of course you should get because this handshake protocol is working there, so obviously we will get this one. Okay, okay, fine. Let me close this and let me close this as well. Okay, now here comes the real thing. Okay, so we know that we have collections.sort through which we can sort it, right? But here the challenge here is we have two data types, right? One is fat and another one dessert, which are two data types, right? So if I create array list here and if I say in the generic that I want to sort based on a maybe integer and a string, and let me create an object here and equal to new array list, and here this doesn't going to work, right? So here it says that you cannot have two data types. Of course we can create a map and we can do this key and value, but we know that map doesn't allow the duplicate keys, so obviously we cannot predict that our web page have duplicates or not. So it's based on the some search data, it is going to vary each and every time. So using the map doesn't make sense to me here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a custom class here. Okay, so here I can say class, and this class is going to hold the table data, and that's it, right? And now this data I need two data types, which is this fat, right? So this fat guy is of type integer and this desert is of type string, right? So I'm going to create two things. Okay, so here I'm going to say integer fat, and here I'm going to say string, string string. So here I'm going to say string, not this one, so string, and here I'm going to say desert, right? So desert. Okay, so based on this data I'm going to create a constructor. So right click and source action, and here you can see we can create this constructor, right? So here I am going to select both the values and I'm going to click OK. So this guy is going to bring the constructor for me, right? Now what can I do is, here I can say that instead of integer and string, I can pass my custom class that is table data, right? Now this is going to accept this value, right? Now that's fine, that's pretty cool, but still the problem here is we have to add this data to our list, right? So I'm going to comment this sysout statement, and here what I'm going to do is, first thing we have to convert this fat data into integer, right? So I'm going to pass this using integer dot parse. So integer dot pass, and here I'm going to pass this fat dot get text, right? Yes, so we got this, fine. Okay, now let me store this in a local variable. So, and let it be fat data maybe, or value, something like that. So okay, fine. Similarly we have to do for the desert as well. So this is going to be we can add that directly. So here I'm going to call this list dot add, and within that I have to pass my custom class, that is new constructor, that new table data, right? So new table data, and here it needs two values, which one is fat and another one is desert, right? So here I can say desert dot get text, and here instead of this fat I have to pass the fat value, right? Yes, so we are able to do that, right? That's it. Now if I add this is obviously going to add everything, right? So let me go and print this first. So here what I'm going to say is, let me sys out this. Okay, so sys out list. Okay, now I'm not going to get any output, I think. Let me run and show you why. Okay, so it's launched the browser and it is going to fetch my URL, and then it is going to look through each and every value and it is going to iterate. Okay, so here we can see that we got this 5 values, right? Sorting dot table, but we got the object, not the actual value. So what can I do is I can override this class. Okay, so here I'm going to select on source action, and here I'm going to generate toString. Okay, now this toString means whatever the string here we have, it is going to return us. Okay, that is just to do the print statement, nothing else. Okay, so here we are getting our print statement from this list. This list will go and check this toString and it will return the table data here. Okay, so let me print that again. So I'm going to run again. So the browser has been launched. It's going to fetch the URL as well, and yes, so now you can see that table data, and here it says that is at frozen and fat 6. We got all the correspondent value, right? So fat 6 and the frozen yogurt, right? So if I show you this, so here we have this 6 and frozen yogurt, right? Now when I do the click on this, it is going to do the sorting, right? It is going to sort the data. So 4, which is cupcake, right? So let us do the sorting here. So what I'm going to do is, here I'm going to say collections.sort. Okay, so collections.sort, and here let me import this. So we have to import this from java.util. So here you can see collections java.util, right? Now here I can going to pass my list, but again here I have a challenge. Okay, so let me show you that. Okay, so it should be list list, right? Now here again, if I sort the list, I am not able to sort because it says that you cannot sort your custom classes. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to make this class as sortable. Okay, for that I'm going to do this comparable now. Okay, so here I'm going to say implements and comparable. Okay, now this comparable class, I mean interface, sorry, this comparable interface has a method which is nothing but this compared to. This interface has only one method, which is compared to. Okay, now also here we can see the signature. This comparable needs a t, that is nothing but generic type, right? So here we know that we are going to sort this class, so I'm going to copy this, and here within the generic I'm going to pass this. Okay, So first one solved. Now again we have to do the implementation. So here I can mouse over and do the implement. So here it's going to give me this compared to override. It is going to override, right? Now if I go inside this method, I can see the description that it will say like okay, so here you can see, right, a negative integer is 0 and a positive integer. Okay, that means if the value is lesser than, then we should return as a negative number. If the value is equals, then we have to return 0, or if the value is greater than, then we have to return a positive integer. Okay, now if you see the signature, it says that int, right? So either we have to return positive, negative, or 0. Okay, so here I'm going to return this. So let me delete this one. Okay, so what I'm going to write, I'm going to write a if condition, and from this table data. Okay, so let me name this as data here. Okay, from this data, what we want to check? So we want to check the fat, right? So fat integer, and if it's lesser than that, I'm going to say first I have to get the local variable. So list dot this dot fat, which is my instance variable in this class, and here I'm going to check for the lesser than, which is getting from this data. Okay, so this data dot fat. Okay, now if this is going to be true, then I have to return what? I have to return minus, because we are checking the lesser than, right? We are doing this ascending order, right? So here I'm going to say return -1, or else I can say return maybe 0 or positive. We can write multiple if condition as well, but for this example I think this is pretty much enough, right? Now if I go up, and here you can see that this has been sorted, right? Yes. Now let me print this one. So here I'm going to say, so before sorting, and here I'm going to say after sorting. Okay, so let me copy, oh no, sorry, so let me copy this and paste it here. Okay, so after sorting, we are going to say this is as after sorting. After sorting. Okay, now let me print the value each one by one as well. So we know this guy is going to print in the format of this, right? In this format of array format, that is the list format, right? But instead of that, let me print in one by one. So here I'm going to use the lambda function. So list dot for each, and this is going to get I value here, and here I can print this. So this out, I can say maybe fat colon, and here I can get this I dot fat. Okay, and then again I'm going to use the plus, and here I'm going to say the desert name. So desert, and here I'm going to do the plus, and here I'm going to get the I dot desert, right? Yes, fine. So here I have to close the bracket. Okay, and semicolon. Okay, fine. So let me run this again, and then let me refresh it again. So here if I run this again, so it's going to launch my browser, and it is going to fetch the value, I mean the URL, and it's going to fetch all the values. Okay, and here we can see that this table data dessert frozen yogurt is fat 6, and this dessert ice cream sandwich is fat 9, right? Now here also we get the sorted value, right? So 4 equal to 4, 6, 9, 16, 16. Obviously it has been sorted, and the value has been also persisted, right? So in this way we can check the data persist of the data, and this is how we have to use the comparable. Okay, so let me quickly refresh it again. So here I'm going to say, so these are basic stuff, you know, right? So this line is to disable the Chrome driver logs, and then here we are getting the for loop to iterate each and every element. Obviously you can do in so many ways, right? There is no single approach to do in programming. There is always going to be very different approach by everyone. So I felt this one is very easy to show you the comparable, so I have used this. You can use the web table concept as well. And here we know that this array list is going to take only one data type, one data at a time. So I cannot pass integer and string at the same time. I can do that using map, but we know that maps key should be unique. We cannot have duplicates, so map is not the correct solution here. um, Now the problem is in collections.sort we cannot sort directly our custom class, right? So what we have to do is we have to implement our class to the comparable interface. Now this comparable interface needs a generic type which is going to be the same class which we created now. Okay, and inside this I'm going to create a constructor and I'm going to get the value from my from this thing, right? From this web elements I'm going to get that value, and here this to string is just to do the print statement, nothing much here. And this is the very important where this compare to method we have to override and we have to check this conditional base. Okay, so if you want to check for ascending order you have to use -1. If you are going to check for descending you have to use positive number. That's it. It is not 1 or 2, anything, any number which should be in the format of negative or positive, and 0 if it's going to be equal, right? Now we are using this lambda function here to iterate through each and every element and to print. Okay, so I hope this makes sense to you, and this is pretty much easy. You can learn, if you want to learn more about comparable and comparator, so probably you can check the telescope video. From there I only learned this comparable and I tried to do that same thing using Selenium. I mean, yeah. So that's it guys, thanks for watching. If you like the video consider giving a like, and if you are new to the channel so hit the subscribe button. Thanks guys, see you very soon.